Hello, everybody. Tracy Mrs. JDog Flanagan here with you today. I'm the co-founder and senior vice president at JDog Brands. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tactical Treasures podcast, powered by JDog and Vet TV. Our podcast gives veterans, mil spouses, active military members, and military family members a voice in the veteran space to speak about their service, what they're doing in their communities post-service, and they share with me a tactical treasure that has helped them in their journey in their military career, business, or life. Today, I have the amazing pleasure of speaking with Darrell Utt. Darrell is a retired U.S. Army, having served for nearly 27 years as a Green Beret. And during his service, Darrell completed 10 combat deployments in special operations. Post-service, Darrell continues to serve our country as the Chief of Business Operations for the National Medal of Honor Museum Foundation, where he is working hard to help build the future of our nation by inspiring current and future generations to discover and develop the shared values inherent in every Medal of Honor recipient, those of courage and sacrifice, commitment and integrity, and citizenship and patriotism. Hi, Darrell. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm very excited for our discussion.
Hello, Tracy. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. So, Darrell, can you talk to us a little bit about your military career? What initially led and inspired you to join the Army?
Well, it's a great question. And it kind of comes full circle. I was just able to talk to my football coach yesterday from Vincent High School, Huntington, West Virginia. I'm a 1990 graduate. And Coach Thornburg was a huge inspiration in my life and my career, really before I even knew it. I mean, he was a National Guard Special Forces non-commissioned officer, and he was also our football coach. He was
Oh,
dual-hatted.
wow.
And he was our driver's ed coach, teacher as well. So he was a busy guy, but he had such a strong influence and impact on my life as a young man, and kind of took me under his wing with a lot of my other, buddies and fellow players that played football for him. So coach took us under his wing, and he introduced us to the military. And um, for a lot of us, we in West Virginia, we grew up poor, humble beginnings. So he showed us a way out that was productive, and we could give back and do something nice for the country. So yeah, Coach Thornburg was a huge influence and impact for me, and that's what got me, probably going down the military avenue. And I was just able to talk to him yesterday. It's been decades since I talked to him, and I actually asked him, I was like, Coach, how old are you nowadays? And he said that he was a young 76, but gosh, it just meant so much to me to be able to talk to that man and just to thank him for everything. Because when you're 15, 16, 17, you really don't know a whole lot about what's going on in life. And I was just so thankful to have a great mentor in Coach Thornburg that kind of showed me the way. So yeah, I ended up joining the Army in 1990, and kind of just didn't look back. Like you said, Tracy, I spent almost 27 years
Wow.
in the Army. Most of that time was in special operations, and got to see a whole lot, got to do a whole lot. As far as I think there might be a lot of young listeners out there nowadays that are listening to podcasts, and hopefully we can reach a few folks that may be on the fence or maybe considering joining the military. And I would just like to encourage them. It's a great thing to do. We need patriots to continue serving their country. And for me, being a poor kid from West Virginia, to leave the service, with a master's degree and a lot of experience, and it really helped propel me to where I'm at now in my civilian career. So I would definitely tell those young folks to think it over and definitely consider it. But the military was great for me, Tracy, and I would
Yeah.
strongly encourage others to go down that route as well.
Yeah, that's great. And, it's how amazing for you that you had such a great mentor, as you were a young teenager. I think our teenagers today, they probably don't know it, but they they need mentors. They need strong leaders to step up and help them, find their way in this world. So good for you, and what an amazing career you've had. Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank
And
you. And it's good for you too. I mean, by doing this podcast, you're reaching a lot of people out there. Congratulations on having such a successful podcast and
yeah.
what you're doing. I'm a big fan and thank you for what you do.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. This podcast has really turned into an awesome platform for our veterans and male spouses, just to share with the country what they've done and what they're doing post service, because you all are just doing amazing things. So is there, you had such an amazing career, in the military. Is there, I'm sure a lot stuck out to you, but is there one part of your service that meant a lot to you or was impactful?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of different things that jump out. I ended up doing 4 rotations in Iraq and
Oh,
spent
mm,
altogether, I think a little over 2 years in Iraq. I was there in '03, '04, '05, and also 2006 and 2007. So
wow.
I would say the rotations that really stand out for me, though, out of because I did a lot in the Balkans as well
Right.
before 9/11. A lot of people forget that that there was an air war in Serbia and there was a lot of things going on in Kosovo. I mean, we still have troops
Sure.
on the ground in Kosovo. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Hmm.
crazy. People don't even realize it. But out of all of those things, 26 and a half years, I would have to say the rotations to Baghdad, Iraq in 2006, and the rotation to Baghdad, Iraq in 2007 really stand out to me. It was just a very violent,
Sure.
deadly
Yeah.
time period. And, we had a lot of work to do. And unfortunately, we lost a lot of guys. Those rotations really stick out to me for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure they were really rough. Can't imagine. Hello, viewers and listeners. I would like to introduce you to Worth It Hollow. Nestled in Kirkwood, PA, in the heart of Amish country, is Worth It Hollow, a 501c3 nonprofit that was founded by Sarah Worth, who is an Army veteran having served for nearly 6 years. After her service, she witnessed her fellow veterans struggling with PTSD and wanted to help. The mission of Worth It Hollow is twofold: to rehabilitate and rehome equines, and to provide therapy, both physical and mental, for veterans and the disabled. Unlike most equine therapy programs, their horses are in need, much like those that participate in their programs. Worth It Hollow provides a home, much needed care and rehabilitation when needed, and training for these horses, who in turn are then part of teaching veterans and the disabled not only about themselves, but about equine, farming, and general animal care. To find out more about the programs offered at Worth It Hollow and to get involved through volunteering and donation, check out their website, worthithollow.net. And I'll spell that for you: WOERTHITHOLLOW.net. Thanks. Now, post service, you're currently serving as the Chief of Business Operations for the National Medal of Honor Museum Foundation. I would love to hear more about that and the work that you're doing there. So I kind of was Googling around, and I see that it's not due to open the actual museum until 2024. Is that correct?
Actually, it's not due to open until March of 2025. So just hold
Oh,
on just a
okay.
little bit there. We're
Okay.
working diligently, working hard every day to make sure that we get
Sure,
open.
sure.
We've had a few setbacks. So I'm actually the chief of operations. I was the chief of business ops. We got a CFO in, so my role kind of changed a little bit. So I'm the chief of operations, and I've been working at the foundation since February of 2022. And what a great time to come to the foundation. We had our groundbreaking ceremony in March of 2022, which groundbreaking. I mean, it's a simple,
Sure.
shovel in the dirt, take a
Right.
photo, type deal. And I had never been part of a groundbreaking so spectacular, Tracy. You just got to trust me on this one. I mean, we had a flyover for
Oh,
our groundbreaking
wow.
ceremony. We had
Wow.
President George Bush 43 at our groundbreaking. We had the current chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milley, was in attendance. I think we had 15, it was either 15, 16, or 17 Medal of Honor recipients
Oh,
that were in
wow.
attendance. And that's really significant, Tracy, because we only have 65
Right. That are still
living
living.
Medal of Honor
Yeah.
recipients. So
Yeah.
to have that many recipients in one spot for one occasion was spectacular. That was my first month on the job, and I was like, okay, this is a really significant project. And
Yeah.
I was, I was bought in, I was all in. Um, so now, I've been there a little over a year now. It's a three-pronged project. So we're going to have the museum and a leadership institute that's going to be, co-located in Arlington, Texas. And we are in prime real estate country where we're located, Tracy, being in Arlington, Texas. Because,
Right.
we're close to Dallas Fort Worth
Uh-huh.
Airport. We're close
Mhm.
to Dallas Love Field.
Yeah.
Dallas Fort Worth is top five metropolitan area in the United States. So we get millions of people that come through this area. We're adjacent to AT&T Stadium where the Dallas Cowboys play.
Oh,
We're
wow.
adjacent to Globe Life Field where the Texas Rangers are playing, currently in first place in their division. Just give them a little plug, give them some love.
Yeah.
Yeah, and both of these guys are partners of ours too, which is really, really cool. We have a lot of support from the community, and
That's great.
actually we have support from everyone across the country, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. But we got a
Well,
great location. We got millions of people that come to this
yeah.
area.
Yeah.
Arlington's up and coming, and we just couldn't be happier. There's going to be a Major League Baseball All-Star game in Arlington next year. We're on tap to have probably the semifinals or the finals for the World Cup in 2026, which is great. That's gonna really boost attendance
Right.
because for a museum, like I mean, you
Yeah.
live off that attendance and that
Sure.
revenue. To be able
Sure.
to keep doing your mission, you need to generate revenue. So
Right.
let me get back to it. We're gonna have the Leadership Institute in the museum, co-located in Arlington, Texas, and then the third tier of the project is a monument that will eventually be built in our nation's capital, hopefully close to the Lincoln Memorial. And that's probably going to be a 2026 type project because we want to get the museum and the institute open. But we're
Right.
super excited. I mean, to be able to share these stories of our nation's greatest heroes, I think
Yeah.
is going to have a huge impact on the country. There's a lot of inspiration there,
Mm.
and we just couldn't be happier, Tracy. I mean, we're really excited.
Yeah.
This is something that a lot of people feel in their heart of hearts. So yeah, we're really excited.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of, looking at the website and everything and hearing you talk about it and your passion. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm excited. It definitely sounds like a place that you have to visit. So it sounds very exciting. I'm excited for you. And I mean, being a Medal of Honor recipient, that's the highest honor, right? That our country awards our heroes, right?
Yeah, it's the
So,
highest honor. Yep,
yeah.
for sure.
How
And we
amazing.
don't have a national, Medal of Honor museum, so
Yeah. It's
it's time
perfect.
to correct that. and
Yes.
and this is more, I mean, yes, it's a museum about the Medal of Honor and the values and the stories and things like that, but I feel like this is really America's museum because, these
Right.
recipients, most of them, I mean, we do have some folks that are immigrants, but this is really stories about us and our country and the fabric of our nation. So it's
Yeah.
so important to be able to get these stories out.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're just really fired up about it. We're excited. And I will say this, I say this a lot when I talk to people, but I think it's an important note. As far as like, hey, look for something that gives you purpose and, something that like gets you out of bed and all of those things. And I think this is it for me.
Yeah.
Um, this was my third position post-military.
Mm.
So, I've had a chance to see what the civilian world's all about. And there's nothing like, being on the construction site and you're standing there with a living Medal of Honor recipient, like let's say from the Vietnam War. And I've heard it once or twice, but it's like I just want to be here. I want to be alive when this place is built. I still want to be here. I want to be alive. And that hits you in the heart. Like
Oh,
that
sure.
gives you your
Yeah.
why. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
get up in the
Yeah.
morning, let's get after it.
Yeah. So, the other couple positions that you had, was it difficult transitioning out from such a span of a career in the military, 26 years?
That's a great question. And I appreciate you asking that, Tracy, because I did have a difficult transition.
Yeah.
My first, I people joke around it and they say like, oh, military folks, it's like they're institutionalized like a prisoner.
Right.
I've heard that before. And, I was caught up, a little bit into that whole military. This is the way things are done. And then, 26 and a half years. And then all of a sudden you have a new job.
Yeah.
And my first post-military job just happened to be at another museum that was under construction in Washington, D.C. It was the Museum of the Bible, a
Okay.
430,000 square foot museum that 550 it cost $550 million. So
Wow.
that was a big, huge project, and I was doing director of security and director of operations during that time frame. And I think I still kind of had my military mindset. Washington, D.C. is a whole different animal, with human
Yeah.
resources and laws and regulations and
Right.
all of those things. And in my mind, it was like, hey, this person, are they doing the job or they can't do the job? Because if they can't do the job, then we don't need them. Let them go. And I learned quickly that you might need to have a softer approach when you're dealing with folks like that, especially in DC. Um, so
Oh,
that was
dear.
I say that was probably, a big learning point for me.
Mhm.
It was a challenge. And
Yeah.
I've learned a lot since then,
Mhm.
that you really can't take that military, type approach. You probably need to be a little bit softer and how you deal with folks and be a little bit more patient and be a little bit more smarter if you need to let people go instead of just doing a termination. Maybe
Yeah.
sometimes it's better to do like a severance type thing and protect the
Right.
foundation or protect the organization. I've
Yeah.
definitely learned that lesson.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah.
Um, Hello, viewers and listeners. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Tactical Treasures Podcast. We are currently speaking with Darrell Utt, who is a retired U.S. Army veteran, having served for nearly 27 years as Green Beret. And he actually, during his service, completed 10 combat deployments in special operations. And now he is the Chief of Operations for the National Medal of Honor Museum Foundation. The National Medal of Honor Museum Foundation is dedicated to sharing the stories and values of our nation's incredible heroes. Through education, leadership, and inspiring spaces for learning and reflection, the National Medal of Honor Museum Foundation preserves and expands the impact of the 3,515 award recipients and the more than 40 million Americans who have served in the U.S. Armed Forces since the Civil War. In this endeavor, the National Medal of Honor Museum, located in Arlington, Texas, will inspire current and future generations to discover and develop the shared values inherent in every Medal of Honor recipient: courage, commitment, integrity, patriotism, and citizenship. To support the cause, you can go to mohmuseum.org. I'll spell that for you: mohmuseum.org. There you can learn more about the foundation and museum. You can make a donation, and you can even sign up to volunteer. They also have some swag available that you can purchase. And the museum is slated to open actually in 2025. It's currently under construction. Go to mohmuseum.org and check it out. Now back to the podcast. So let's dive into your tactical treasure. What we'd like to share with us today.
Yeah, so my tactical treasure, and it all goes full circle, Tracy. I was a 21-year-old kid, and I had 3 years in the Army, and I was at Fort Lewis, Washington, and that's when Mogadishu, Somalia happened.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, it goes full circle. So it's this was a huge impact for me. This was a deep inspiration for me. But Master Sergeant Gary Gordon and Sergeant First Class Randy Shugart, served in Mogadishu, Somalia, and tragically and unfortunately were both killed.
Right.
They were both Medal of Honor recipients, and their actions, I mean, heroic actions, courageous actions, everything that they did that day on October 3rd. They're the ones that went in and ultimately saved Mike Durant. They saved Mike Durant's life. He was the pilot on Super 6-4.
Right.
And as a 21-year-old kid, Tracy, that action had such a huge impact on me, and it inspired me. And I think it kind of got me to grow up a little bit. Because when I came in, it was right during Desert Shield, Desert Storm. I didn't participate.
Sure.
And I
right.
just missed Panama in '89. So Somalia, I got to see that, and I kind of got to feel that a little bit from, thousands of miles away. But it was like, to me, Gary Gordon and Randy Shugart and the rest of that task force, they were my superheroes. So I think it really, forced me to kind of dig down deep into my, inside and be like, hey, what do I want to do as I grow up in the Army and mature? And I really think that had an impact on my decision to go Special Forces and to eventually become a Ranger and to eventually be a sniper and all of those things, was just that deep inspiration and that impact from Gary Gordon and Randy Shugart. And now here it is full circle. And I'm working at the National Medal of Honor Museum Foundation. And in a small way, since I was never able to thank them in person, obviously,
Right.
but in a small way, I get to tell a little bit of their story, and I get to thank them that way and try to honor their heroic service. And I would just say, for the folks that are out there listening, just take a second and think about it. Like, who are you inspiring? Who are you impacting by your actions and what you're doing? I think that's important.
Yeah. And I know Matt Eversman very well.
Okay. Awesome.
He's a friend of JDog's. He was actually one of my very first podcasts in my first season.
Oh my gosh. That's so neat. Tracy, I didn't get a chance to meet him, but we were at the Congressional Medal of Honor Society's convention last year in Knoxville, and Matt was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's Matt.
I know.
Holy,
I know.
Still, like, I was like that 21-year-old kid with 3 years experience. Like,
I know.
That's Matt. Like, even as a, I'm 51 now, but I didn't get a chance to talk to him though.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get him outside the room, but I think he did his presentation and then he left.
Right.
And I was so bummed about that, because I've always wanted to meet him.
I got to tell you, he is the greatest guy you'd ever want to meet. And he is so humble. I mean, like when
I believe it,
when he's around Jerry and I, he's like, oh, JDog and Mrs. JDog. Oh my gosh, I love you guys. And I'm like, okay, who are you kidding? Like
Yeah, right.
they did Black Hawk Down was all about you.
Yeah.
I'm humbled to meet you, sir. Like, are you kidding me?
Yes.
But not him. He thinks Mr. and Mrs. J Dog are wonderful, and I'm just like, oh no,
I do
please.
agree with him. I do think you guys are wonderful, but I totally get where you're going with. He's such a humble guy.
Oh,
Like I
he
could
is.
tell when he was doing his presentations, just a humble dude.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He's an amazing person and wonderful to talk to, and to talk about Black Hawk Down. Um, you know, if you have a chance to go back and listen to his episode,
I would love to.
it's a really cool Tactical Treasures episode. We talked about Black Hawk Down, and he was saying how Hollywood did a really good job on depicting what really went on over there in that battle.
They had
And
some intense battle scenes for
oh, I
sure.
know.
I've
Yes.
watched it
Yeah,
several
I
times,
watched
and
it and I was like, it was jaw dropping,
yeah,
and
intense. The book
yeah,
is great
very
too. I
intense.
mean,
Yeah,
the book Black Hawk Down is great too. But
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
And he's written some books about the Battle of Mogadishu, and he's written some books with James Patterson and everything. He's doing great stuff. But
He is.
yeah,
He's a great ambassador. And that's where I'm
he
headed,
is.
Tracy.
Yeah.
I want to be a great ambassador for the veteran community. I mean, they gave me so much, and I
Mm.
just want to be able to give back
Well,
and try to, spread some good messages out
yeah.
there. And definitely not on Matt's level, but I would like to get there at some point.
Oh, well, I mean the whole museum thing, this is just awesome. I mean, great stuff. I think it's great that you're involved in this and bringing all these stories to life, because us civilians, we need to know. We need this information. We need to be inspired. And if they can inspire young people, I think it's so needed now. So what an amazing treasure for you to share, and the heroes of the Battle of Mogadishu, and that you hold them dear. I think it's just incredible, really, really amazing. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
so if people want to like help support the museum and the foundation, how would they go about that?
So we encourage everyone to follow us on social media. That's an easy one. I mean, we're on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and all of that. Please follow us so you can stay up to date on things. And we try to post a lot. You can follow me as well. I'm on all the different social medias. And you can go to our website, www.mohmuseum.org.
Hmm.
And if you really feel it in your heart of hearts, because we're still fundraising, we still need a lot of money.
Yeah.
If you feel it in your heart of hearts, you'd like to go to our website, you can look for the big donate button. That would be amazing if you could help there. And I would just like to say something really quick on that.
Sure.
As far as like the National Medal of Honor Museum, the impact that this museum is going to have on the community and the state and our country, I think the return on investment, the ROI on that is
Mm.
going to be off the charts when you start talking about the values that you mentioned earlier, Tracy: courage, sacrifice, commitment, integrity,
Right.
citizenship, patriotism, those things that I would say a lot of Americans would agree on, that we're kind of getting away from those for the younger generation. And
Yeah. Yeah.
if you agree with that, and this is a place where you can bring your family, you could bring your kids, and you could get some of those values, and you could get some of those stories and understand leadership and love of country. You could understand you're always in the fight, always keep fighting, don't give up, don't surrender. You're going to see a whole museum of ordinary Americans that did extraordinary
Extraordinary
things
things. Yeah.
on probably the worst day of their entire life,
Hmm.
and they just kept fighting. And I think
Right.
that's such a valuable lesson. So
Yeah.
if you do feel it in your heart of hearts, if you want to make a great impact on the community, the state, the country, and have great ROI, please, if it's in your heart of hearts, please please donate, please give.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Um, so true. I couldn't have said it any better than you did, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, young people really need inspiration, and sounds like this museum is going to be just amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing it erect and go up. And if we get to Texas, make sure we're stopping there. That's for sure.
Yeah, if you, Tracy, you have an open invite, you and your team would love to host you at the construction site and give you an exclusive tour and let you take a look. A lot of people are just blown away by the architecture of this place.
Wow.
We did a tour on a Sunday, and there was a few of us present. I mean, because the construction site was closed, but I was there as a former Army guy. The Lindback construction team. He was former Navy. We had a pilot that had flown in Southwest or one of the airlines. I can't remember, but he was former Air Force. Go figure.
Yeah.
And then he had brought a female colleague she had something to do with construction or engineering, and she just wanted to see it. She had heard all these great things. So she's on this site with these, former military guys, and we were kind of just sitting there bantering one another. And we were talking, oh, the Army is the best, or oh no, it's the Navy, it's the Marine Corps, whatever.
Yeah.
But she said, hey, can you show me, because we have these mega columns and the building sets on these mega columns. It makes it look like it's a floating building. And maybe for the listeners out there, we can provide a link or something so you can see some pictures. But she just said, hey, can you point out where the Marine Corps mega column is? And we were like, sure. And she said, we take a picture. Sure, no problem. And I took a picture of her, and she was standing in front of the Marine Corps mega column, and then tears started going down her eyes. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? Did we say something? And she said, no, my father's passed, and he was in the Marines. And it just means so much to me to stand here in front of this mega column that represents the Marine Corps, even though he wasn't a Medal of Honor recipient. But he served in the Marine Corps, and it made me feel closer to my dad in that 1 second. And I was like, whew, need a tissue, almost need a tissue telling you that story, Tracy. But, and keep in mind, I mean, we're still under construction, and she felt that emotion, and she felt that connection with our site. It's just really powerful to me,
That's a powerful story. That's really awesome. Yeah, I'm sure once this is open, and I'm sure it's going to be powerful and hit people in many, many different ways in a good way. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I hope you come and see it.
Yeah, I would love to. It's really great. So thank you so much for all that information. You know, where people can go and donate. And if people want to connect with you personally, Darrell, how would they reach out? I know, is it Darrell on LinkedIn? Is that?
Yeah, I have such a unique name. There's not a lot of me running around out there. So it's
Okay.
DARRELL.UTT.
Okay.
And most of my other social medias, besides I think Facebook, most of my other social medias, Instagram and Twitter and all that, YouTube is Darrell Utt, or some combination of Darrell.Utt.
Okay.
Facebook might be a little tricky, but I sent over my links if that's helpful. And I post a lot of stuff. I post a lot of stories, inspirational things, construction photos. I just got a video right before we got on, Tracy, that they sent me the construction team. We got a great construction team. I want to give them a shout out. Lindback. We couldn't be happier with Lindback. They're amazing partners. Our architect is Raphael Vanelli out of New York, and they're amazing architects, the best at what they do. So,
if you do stuff on Darrell, if you do stuff on LinkedIn, tag Jerry and me.
Okay.
Especially Jerry. He's Jerry JDog Flanagan. He has over 13,000 LinkedIn followers. I don't know. You might even be connected with him on LinkedIn, but he.
I would love to get his information so I could. I'd love to connect with both of you for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll make sure we get that information to you because we'll like and share your all your postings and stuff on LinkedIn.
If I can give a really quick plug, we got these amazing tumblers that keep your coffee nice and hot, even though I'm in Texas and it's basically boiling outside,
Yeah.
but
Right.
I still like to drink coffee because I'm just old school, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's got the values, courage, sacrifice, commitment, integrity, citizenship, patriotism. That's how I remembered them so fast, is
Yeah.
because I drink coffee out of this mug every day. It's got our website there. So and it's got our cool logo on the other side.
I love it.
So we have some swag and things like that we sell.
Oh,
If
great.
you go to our website, we got coins, we got mugs, we got t-shirts, we got all kinds of cool things. And we got some
Wow.
great partners. You might be able to see one of them over my shoulder. Black Rifle Coffee Company is a big
Mhm.
partner of ours, and they sell National Medal of Honor blend coffee. And they just came out with the K cups. And get this, Tracy, 100% of the proceeds, if you go to Black Rifle and you get National Medal of Honor blend, K cups or the regular coffee, 100% of the proceeds goes to the foundation, goes to us. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
it's just amazing.
That's great. That's great that they're doing that for you. That's really terrific.
Yeah.
Darrell, it's been such a pleasure talking with you today. And your passion for what you're doing and just everything you shared today was just so inspiring. And I thank you, sir, for coming on and sharing your story and what you're doing. It's just awesome. Very
Yeah.
excited for the museum and your foundation. It's great.
Thanks for the opportunity, Tracy. And I'm a big fan. Like I said, I'm a big fan of you and what
Thank
you
you.
do. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Take care, Darrell. We'll be keeping posted on how the construction of the museum is going.
Awesome. That's a deal.
Okay. Take care. Bye
Take
bye
care.
now. Hello, viewers and listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in to this Tactical Treasures podcast episode. We have just finished up an amazing conversation with Darrell Utt, who is a retired U.S. Army veteran, having served for nearly 27 years as a Green Beret. And during his service, Darrell completed 10 combat deployments in special operations. Now, he is currently serving as the Chief of Operations for the National Medal of Honor Museum Foundation, which is dedicated to sharing the stories and values of our nation's incredible heroes through education, leadership, and inspiring spaces for learning and reflection. The National Medal of Honor Museum Foundation preserves and expands the impact of the 3,515 award recipients and the more than 40 million Americans who have served in the U.S. Armed Forces since the Civil War. In this endeavor, the National Medal of Honor Museum, located in Arlington, Texas, will inspire current and future generations to discover and develop the shared values inherent in every Medal of Honor recipient: courage, commitment, integrity, patriotism, and citizenship. To support the cause, you can go to mohmuseum.org. I'll spell that for you: mohmuseum.org. There you can learn more about the foundation and museum, make a donation, and even sign up to volunteer. They also have swag that you can check out and order. And it's currently under construction, due to open up in 2025. And it's very, very exciting. So check it out. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. You can find our Tactical Treasures podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms, as well as Vet TV. We are also now airing on Reese Across America Radio on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern and Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can also find Reese Across America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on another Tactical Treasures podcast. Bye-bye now.